Harry Houdini. He was a known illusionist and stunt performer who became famous through escaping and doing magic. He was known as Harry Handcuff Houdini and lived from 1874 to 1926.
He was born as Eric Ways, but later changed his name to Eric Ways and Harry Ways, which later turned to Harry Houdini.
And he was a Hungarian-born American born in Budapest in a Jewish family by a
Jake, it's Mayor Samuel Ways, who was a rabbi, who we'll call Mr. Ways, and
Cecilia Steiner. Harry Houdini was one of the 7 children that they had.
wait, wasn't that the amount of children I've...
Uh-huh. Anyway, they arrived in the United States on July 3, 1878 with pregnant mother on SS Frisia.
The family changed their last name to Ways, with an S at the end, and Eric became Eric, as in EHRICH.
So let's fast forward to his magic career.
Wait, where is Eric Ways? Oh, that's right. He's Harry Houdini now.
Yeah, Eric is no more and Harry Houdini is more.
It was said that Harry Houdini got his name from French magician Jean-Eugène Robert Houdin after reading his autobiography. What a name! Oh, wait, Jake, isn't that Houdin and not Houdini? Why is there an I?
Oh, so apparently, he mistakenly thought that I after a name means like in French, so it was all a mistake.
Well, that makes sense.
So back to the topic. Houdini said that Harry was a homage to Harry Keller, whom he admired, but Harry most likely came from Eric.
He was coached by magician Joseph Rinn and began his magic career in 1891, but he had little success.
But he did appear in a tent act with strongman Emil Gero. He also performed in sideshows and dime museums. In fact, he even doubled as the Wild Man.
He initially focused on card tricks and even called himself the King of Cards. Now that's confidence.
Yes, indeed it is confidence. But then he later moved and experimented on escape acts. Now this is where his escape acts career begins.
Was that really necessary?
No, but it was funny.
Anyway, he performed with his brother named Theodore, who was called Dash at Coney Island in 1893.
And they went under the brothers Houdini. But suddenly, they met fellow performer Beatrice Ranner, who was called Bess.
And Bess was courted by Dash, but she married Harry Houdini later in 1894.
Bess became Houdini's assistant and replaced Dash. Bess and Harry became the Houdinis.
Later on, Houdini met manager Marvin Beck in 1899.
Jeez whiz, the advice must have worked out for him then.
Then, within months, he was performing in top vaudeville houses. Beck then later on arranged interviews for Houdini, but most were unsuccessful.
But suddenly, a British agent named Harry Day helped him get an interview with C. Dundas Slater, manager of Alhambra Theatre. He must have worked all day for Harry.
Jake, are you a dad now?
Hey, that was a good one.
No, it wasn't. Anyway, Houdini was introduced to William Melville and demonstrated the handcuff escape. He succeeded while baffling the police.
He was booked to Alhambra at 6 months, and suddenly his salary rose to $300 a week, so that would be $9,253.61 today. Damn.
Now, for his tours around the world. He toured in Great Britain, Netherlands, Russia, and Germany.
He was called the Handcuff King and challenged the local police in each cities to restrain him with shackles and lock him in jails. He was first stripped nude to be searched.
In Moscow, Russia, he escaped the Siberian prison transport van.
In Cologne, Germany, he apparently sued a police officer named Werner Graf.
But why?
Oh, apparently, Houdini said he's made the escapes through bribery.
Oh, well, that's rough.
He did win the case when he unlocked the judge's safe, in which he said he forgot to lock it.
On his tour on Europe, he visited a place named Blois to meet the widow of Emile Houdin, the son of Houdin. You know, the guy from earlier?
He wanted an interview for the permission to visit the grave, but he never did got the permission, but he still went.
Harry Houdini believed he was treated unfairly. He even wrote a negative account on his magazine.
He claimed he was treated most discourteously by Madame W. Emile Robert Houdin.
He even had the nerves to send a letter to the French magazine L'Illusioniste.
He stated, "You will certainly enjoy the article on Robert Houdin I am about to publish in my magazine. Yes, my dear friend, I think I can finally demolish your idol, who has so long been placed on pedestal that he did not deserve."
He did also create his own publication named The Conjurer's Monthly Magazine. It was apparently a competitor to the Sphinx, but only had 2 volumes released until August 1908.
A magician historian named Jean Steinmeier noted that Houdini used the journal for his own crusades and attacked his rivals.
Now that's drama. Now let's talk about his escape acts.
First up, of course, is his handcuff act. He revealed how many locks and handcuffs could be opened with properly applied force in the Handcuff Secrets, published in 1909.
Next is the milk can escape in 1908, where, you know, he escaped a milk can with water inside. He was handcuffed and sealed in a huge milk can and made his escape behind the curtain.
Houdini told the audience to hold their breath until he escapes. He later modified his escape and added a wooden chest box outside the locked milk can, which was padlocked and chained.
He performed this escape for only 4 years while his brother Theodore Hardin, from earlier who is called Dash, continued to perform the escape into the 1940s.
Here's one more we'll show you. It almost cost Houdini his life. It was called the buried alive stunt.
Yes, it is what it sounds like. He performed 3 variations of this stunt. The first one was in Santa Ana, California in 1915.
So what happened was, Houdini thought it would be good to be buried without a casket in a pit of earth 6 feet deep.
He became exhausted and he panicked while trying to dig his way out to call for help.
When his hand finally touched the surface, he became unconscious and had to be pulled away by his assistants. Yeah, it was that dangerous.
Some people tried to imitate his stunt and some died. Hey, I'll see if I can do that.
I told you that was a bad idea.
Oh, I think I had dirt in my mouth. It was really dangerous.
Houdini wrote in his diary that it was very dangerous and that the weight of earth was killing.
The second variation of this act was an endurance test. It was done to expose a mystical Egyptian performer, Rahman Bey, who said he had supernatural powers and used it to remain in a casket for an hour.
On August 5, 1926, he remained in a sealed casket or coffin, which was submerged in a swimming pool in New York's Hotel Shelton for 1.5 hours.
Houdini said he didn't use any superpowers or some stuff. He just used controlled breathing.
Houdini repeated this stunt in a YMCA place, but this time it's for 1 hour and 11 minutes.
Then his final buried alive stunt was a stage escape in his full evening show.
Houdini would escape after being strapped to a straitjacket while being sealed in a casket and being buried in a large tank filled with sand.
At least it went well. But it was supposed to be a feature escape on 1927, but Houdini died on October 1926 because of appendicitis at the age of 57.
The bronze casket Houdini made for his buried alive stunt was used to transport his body from Detroit to New York.
At some point in his life, he became an aviator because he was fascinated with it.
He made 3 flights at Digger's Rest, Victoria. It was reported at that time that this was the first aerial flight in Australia.
A century later, the media still credit him with this.
Another time in his life, he debunked spiritualists so he became like a ghostbuster, you know?
He apparently was short and stocky, and biographers labeled him as 5 feet 5 inches. There was a photo of heavyweight boxer Jack Dempsey mock punching Houdini.
While Houdini, looking small, was being held back by lightweight boxer Benny Leonard.
There was also an audio clip of his voice, and we'll play it right now.
Harry Houdini, October the 29th, 1914, Blackbird, New York.
So that's all for today.
We hope you enjoyed the topic, and you could keep up with the videos by pressing the red button with subscribe on it.
I'll see you next video, and again, bye bye.